Tea, the comforting drink you sip while relaxing. But what if I told you this innocent cup once fueled an empire, addicted millions, and even started 2 wars? This is the dark truth behind the world's most beloved drink. A story of smuggling, manipulation, and a global addiction the British Empire never wanted you to know. Keep watching, because it gets shocking. Hundreds of years ago, only one country on Earth knew how to make tea: China. It first appeared more than 4,000 years ago. Legend says it happened by accident, when a leaf from a wild tea tree drifted into the emperor's boiling water. He took a sip and instantly felt more awake, more alive. From that moment, China treated tea like a gift from the heavens. Only the elite could drink it, only trusted hands could grow it, and only within China's borders could tea survive, or so the world believed. Chinese guarded it like treasure, and it became a royal secret. By the 1600s, whispers of a mysterious Chinese drink reached Europe. The Portuguese and Dutch managed to smuggle small amounts home from their eastern voyages. And Europe fell in love instantly. This wasn't just a tasty drink. They believed it cured illness, boosted energy, even added years to life. Soon, British elites got addicted too. And when Britain wants something, it doesn't ask quietly. So British ships began crowding Chinese ports, demanding access, properly this time. Europe said, "We want tea. We'll give you anything you want." China replied, completely unimpressed, "We already have everything." This was a problem, a massive one. Britain was pouring tons of silver into China just to satisfy a nation now hooked on tea. Tea wasn't just a luxury anymore. It was a national addiction. The British aristocracy drank it, the working class drank it, even children drank it. By the early 1800s, 90% of Britain's imports from China was tea. One drink was draining an empire. The silver supplies were vanishing fast. And China still didn't want British goods. Britain was facing a nightmare. Imagine telling millions of tea-addicted citizens, "Sorry, we've run out." Riots would erupt. The economy would collapse. The empire would look weak. They needed a solution, a way to force China into trading. And someone finally said the quiet part out loud, "If China won't buy what we offer, then we must offer what China can't refuse: opium. A narcotic so powerful that once you start, you want more." British merchants smuggled it into China, hidden in cargo ships, sold in secret coves and black markets. At first, only a few people bought it. Then, a few more. Then, millions. Because the Chinese people were known for their strong work ethic and discipline, some historians speculate that when opium swept through, it affected them more severely, perhaps due to a lower baseline dopamine reward drive. The addiction spread like wildfire. China's productivity dropped. Families sold everything, just for another hit. China wasn't trading tea anymore. China was trading its future. The emperor was horrified. His people were suffering. His nation was collapsing. He tried to stop the poison, confiscating opium, burning warehouses, arresting smugglers by the thousands. But it was too late. A letter was sent to Britain, pleading for them to stop destroying his country. Britain's response? They declared war. They sailed entire fleets across the sea to defend a drug business, just so they could keep drinking tea. The truth is brutal. Britain didn't go to war for glory. They went to war for their morning cup. The world was about to witness the First Opium War. a war over addiction, and an empire's unstoppable thirst. Hold on. This is just the beginning. Because after forcing China to its knees, Britain makes an even darker decision. The war over tea wasn't led by kings. It was led by a company, the East India Company. A business so powerful, it printed its own money, ruled over millions of people, and commanded the largest private army on earth. Not soldiers in the name of a nation, but hired guns acting for profit. They didn't want diplomacy. They wanted control. China's traditional wooden ships were no match for Britain's steam-powered gunboats. In battles that lasted minutes, entire fleets were destroyed. Ports were seized. Cities were forced open for trade. China, a civilization thousands of years old, was suddenly being dictated by a business contract. The peace terms were humiliating. China had to pay massive fines, legalize the very drug destroying its people, and hand over key territory. One of those places? Hong Kong, which Britain would rule for more than 150 years. But victory didn't satisfy Britain. They wanted more tea for less money. Why keep paying China when they could just replace China? That's when the East India Company looked at the Himalayan foothills of India and saw an opportunity to steal the industry, not just the product. Now, all they needed was someone brave or reckless enough to go undercover in China itself and steal the secrets from the inside. Because the real power behind tea wasn't the leaf. It was the knowledge, how to grow it, how to process it, how to turn green leaves into black gold. One man was about to risk his life to take that knowledge and break China's monopoly forever. To break China's total grip on tea, Britain needed intelligence, not firepower. Their answer was Robert Fortune, a Scottish botanist with nerves of steel. He didn't speak the language, he didn't know the culture, but he accepted a mission so dangerous failure meant certain death. His objective: enter forbidden tea regions and smuggle out the very heart of China's power. Living tea plants and the experts who mastered them. Fortune shaved his head, wore local clothing, and even glued on a fake Q braid to look indistinguishable from the crowd. He traveled deep into provinces where no foreigner had ever been allowed. Armed only with notebooks, jars, and deception, he bribed guards, slipped past checkpoints, and observed every step of the production. The secret gardens check, the precise harvesting techniques, check the complex fermentation process, check the machines that shaped and dried the leaves. He documented it all like a scientist, but acted like a thief. Then came the most impossible part: get it all out of China alive. Fortune packed thousands of seedlings into glass containers called Wardian cases, miniature traveling greenhouses that kept the plants alive across oceans. He also convinced elite tea workers to leave their homeland and restart the industry in the British-controlled mountains of India. One man had just transferred a billion-dollar trade to a new empire. Within a few years, India's plantations exploded. Vast fields replaced jungles. Factories churned day and night. Prices collapsed in Britain's favor. Tea, once a guarded Chinese jewel, was now a mass-produced British commodity. China's monopoly? Gone forever. Tea plantations spread across India and Ceylon with astonishing speed. Colonial officials carved mountains into terraces, built railways for transport, and forced local workers into brutal labor for pennies a day. What began as espionage became industrial domination. By the late 1800s, Britain controlled nearly the entire world's supply of black tea. A single choice at the breakfast table, milk and sugar, had become political. It fueled factories, mining shifts, and every long workday of the Industrial Revolution. Tea wasn't a luxury anymore. It was identity. Meanwhile, China's once thriving economy collapsed. Smuggling reversed fortunes, ports filled with foreign flags. Centuries-old pride turned into desperation. A drink had shifted global power from east to west. The Opium Wars, plus the unequal treaties that followed, are considered the trigger for what China calls the century of humiliation. Today, tea is so ordinary we forget its history was carved by exploitation. Every year, the world consumes over 6 trillion cups. From London boardrooms to roadside stalls in Pakistan, to high-altitude gardens in Darjeeling, people still drink the leftovers of an empire. A warm cup built on cold ambition. Yet the irony remains. Britain claims tea as cultural heritage, but never invented it. And China, the birthplace of it all, lost everything protecting it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe our channel, The Curious Corner, for more fascinating content.